that no one's going to talk to you about. Another bizarre thing happened in Africa. 4 Saudis were murdered in the Niger. And this, I think, has some significance as long as the timing factors in there, the taking care of business time frame. But this kid had a Saudi handler. We don't know who he is, but it's just kind of bizarre that 4 very wealthy Saudi men who were hunting in Niger while bowing for their morning prayers at 6 a.m. were attacked by various Al-Qaeda, CIA militants known to be active in the area and shot to death. 2 of the guides accompanying the Saudis were found later with their hands tied. A lot of taking care of business when you pull something like this. Then, of course, nobody leaves Daddy out of this affair. Very influential businessman, lots of ties with the big banking industries. He was a minister in the government in his country. I don't know if he would have had a diplomatic passport still at that point, or if his son could have access to something like that. But it really has to make us wonder, like, what are the odds? What are the odds out of the 6.8 something billion people on the earth that this terrorist, alleged terrorist, and Major Hassan are going to have the same iman, that one guy's going to be in Houston and back in Yemen? We look at these odds are so bizarre as to just be incalculable. Then we see, the father is setting up some type of new bank, an Islamic bank, perhaps. He has connections to virtually everybody. Once you get into banking at that high level, like, you're going to places like Davos. You're going to attend the central bankers meetings, perhaps, in Switzerland, the regular ones at the Bank of International Settlements. But he also funded, things like the Arab Fund for Economic and Social Development, the International Fund for Agriculture Development, IFAD, the Islamic Development Bank, the International Monetary Fund, OPEC, EU, are all involved in this giant money swirl. Yemen's debt has gone through the roof. I guess they need more money to finance their things. They're all being suckered into to be pressured into giving up the sovereignty of their nation so that these extra national organizations can have way with them, just like they do in every other country. And I guess a lot of the people just feel the only thing left for them to do is to fight back. And there's a hell of a lot of fighting going on in those countries. So the big question is, was he warning the CIA and the State Department, or was he going to these places to finalize the role of his son? And because this picture is shaded out, is that really his son? How can we say that with certainty? We can't. What they show us after it's all over, the guy who looks like he's drugged or spaced out, that can very well be our boy, but before that, we can't say that. Wayne Masden reports as saying that this is an operation of the CIA, the Mossad, and RAW, and we've done shows on that when we were talking about the Tasmanian devil, the people who launched the terrorist attack in India. We came to surmise it was an inside job to eliminate the terrorist specialist police who had a little too much knowledge and understanding about what's really going on, and the whole purpose of the operation was to eliminate them in a mass terrorist attack so no one would ever think there was any motive to kill them or eliminate them, because their deaths would certainly cause a lot of attention. So we have to look at that in a good context to say that's probably quite true. There's airline connections with the Muttalib family to go along with this false flag thing. There's an airline called Dalu Airlines in Mogadishu, the world's Ishtmatar World Aviation Holdings, connections between them and Delta, Shell Oil. So there's no end of corporate connections between the family and the companies and people who are a little less credible as potential terrorists. So we have to really wonder what's going on, really wonder quite a lot. Then there's the company who runs, you know, some of these security operations in some of these airports. They have some nasty overtones as well, that some of them may be run by former intelligence agents or present intelligence agents, and that's why you get to bypass the line. And maybe we can have a look at the skivvies there, my friend. It's a small picture, but most all clothing is made in China, and it's not made to any great standards or anything like that. So if this guy's on fire to the point of, you know, burning your flesh black, third-degree burns, or you're burning your flesh through to the bone, those garments look beige in color, not burned black. And I would find it hard to believe that, you know, I would just expect to see just cinders of black. You know, if you're burned to that extent, you're talking a hell of a fire. And your clothes, I don't know if you've burned anything, but, you know, even your Levi's, you put a match to those puppies, like, they're going up. And it's just unbelievable that we wear this stuff. Don't ever catch fire, because your clothes burn very, very well. But these are probably like super industrial grade underwear made specially by an Al-Qaeda plant somewhere in the mountains of Afghanistan, personally stained by Osama bin Laden before they're used by the suicide bombers. I find that hard to believe. I would think that that this is just a fake. It just doesn't appear to be, you know, damaged to the extent that it should be damaged. You can look on YouTube and see what happens with a PETN fire, and it's just an amazing fireball. Like, you're looking at 6-8 feet high, just the most intense fireball that you can imagine. And that's just from burning the stuff, not blowing it up. And then we have to look at, you know, the old key bono, who benefits the military-industrial complex. They're going to bring these scanners in all over the place. Mr. Chertoff has a company. Lucky for us, the Chertoff Group, sinister website, sinister man, supposed to mean son of the devil as I understand it, and he'll profit handsomely from giving advice on buying these scanners. And luckily for us, the Canadian government was well ahead of the plan. They're getting them a month before. I'm putting their orders in, so we'll be ready for the new year. Good men up there, eh? And then we have to wonder, a friend of mine was traveling, was at the Toronto airport, but everybody just goes around like a sheep, just no more conscious than any other lower form of life, and notices they put up the new signs. It's Christmas Day. Doesn't anyone understand? It's Christmas Day. All the places are closed. Sign stores don't do 24/7 business. They're not an emergency service. Hello, 911 sign company? I need a sign. Maybe God will give you a sign 24/7, but you're not going to get it from the sign company. So somehow they were able to get those things in a couple of hours on Christmas Day. That kind of tells you a little bit, too, that maybe they ordered them in advance. And then another big story from Yemen is 6 truckloads of explosives just happened to go missing. So we may be in for some more. Then everybody goes radical and apeshit, and you know, they nail some guy from Nigeria because he's got diarrhea on the plane and he doesn't want to come out of the toilet for a couple of hours. Well, I don't blame him. And to be perfectly honest with you, if I was flying on that plane and he was suffering so badly, I'd prefer he stays on the head as opposed to coming out. So it's a shame one of my old buddies, a sailor, wasn't traveling on that plane, because he'd have come out and you'd be cleaning for weeks. You'd never get the smell out of the carpet. You'd probably have to burn the plane just to get rid of the smell. But this Nigerian guy was a gentleman. He stayed in the toilet. Then one of the other big, you know, just as they just go to super overkill, they kick Joan Rivers off a plane. Joan Rivers, like, you know, the plastic surgeon's model exceptionnaire. Like, it's hard to do a job like that. I watched her on the news. I know she's been around a long time, but I'm telling you, like, you can't find anything wrong with the face they got on her. It's just unbelievable. Maybe other parts they messed up on, but, you know, and she's got a mouth on her. Everybody's got to know Joan Rivers, but no, she's a terrorist in the post-Mutala